welcome in to the first episode of Where the Game Lives On, the official podcast of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. This is our first to go at this, so we're gonna see how it goes. I'm a little excited.
Yeah, it is. We've been talking about this for a long time, and so it's kind of pretty cool to get it going. So
Yeah,
looking
and
forward to it.
it's we kind of had this thought, this idea, and I don't know if there's a state Hall of Fame that has a podcast.
I'm not aware of one. I actually just had to research all of the state sports Hall of Fames in the country, all 50 states or 49, not counting Missouri, and it was an interesting research project. But I do not recall uh, one jumping out. There may be one or two that have a podcast, but I do think this is new ground.
Yeah, no, and it's fun. It's fun. It's definitely, like you said, something we've talked about for a
Mhm.
long time, and we're looking forward to kind of getting into it and seeing what this thing grows into. We do, have a vision for what it's going to be. I think that, we know that there's a lot of stuff that we do that we can talk about, but this may not be what you would expect from a state Hall of Fame. We're not going to be just talking about the history of Missouri sports every episode and talking about our
Uh,
inductees. There'll certainly be time for that, and it'll probably be interjected throughout our episodes. But whenever you look at kind of the vision that we have, and I think it's pretty accurate and finite. But kind of what do you see this podcast growing into?
well, I certainly my goal for it is that folks across the state of Missouri get to know us more so than just at the event. So I guess that's a good time for me to for us to introduce ourselves. I'm Byron Shive. I'm the CEO Executive Director here at the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, and have been in this role since August 1st of last year. And this is one of the this podcast was one of the things that I came into this position wanting to do, and glad that we're finally at this point. But and you are.
Certainly, yeah. And I'm Noah Tucker. I manage our social media accounts for the Hall of Fame and also the Price Cutter Charity Championship, which you'll hear us talk about a lot. It is a Corn Ferry Tour event that we manage every year. But yes, I kind of oversee a lot of the digital content that we do here, and I've kind of come on board as we've gotten some new management in place, and it's definitely something that you've placed a big emphasis on is us having a digital presence, and I think that this goes a long way in kind of playing into that. And we're going to get into that a little bit more as we get going here. But I think talking about, these new things that we're doing and kind of wanting to, have, a different presence and meet new audiences, that all is coming along with kind of where we're at as the Hall of Fame right now. If you haven't picked up on it, it's kind of a little bit of a period of transition that we're going through. People are kind of getting settled into new roles, and it's really starting to get to where we're all kind of getting comfortable with everything and having time to do some stuff like this and sit down and just, have some fun and,
Yeah.
and kick back and talk on the podcast. But why don't you kind of just go off about the transition and how
Yeah.
everything's going?
Well, certainly the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame has been around for a while, but one of the things that I wanted to focus on as I came into this role was to for us to become more of a statewide Hall of Fame. We certainly have inductees from other parts of the state, St. Louis, Kansas City, and other parts in between. But there's just a lot of individuals and teams and people that are deserving of induction that we just want to get out and cover every corner of the state. And so that was one thing that I saw coming into this role that we needed to do. And social media is one way to make that happen with the reach of social media, and then podcast as well. I mean, I drive 45 minutes every one way every morning to work and 45 minutes home. That's about a perfect podcast length, and so that's what I listen to is podcasts. And so it's just a way for us to kind of let everybody know who we are, what we're doing, what our vision is, and keep everybody informed. And so I'm excited that we're kind of making this plan come to fruition.
Yeah, certainly. And that transition is also kind of seeing some new members to
Hmm.
staff, trying to make sure that, we're able to kind of attain these different things and whatnot. And that's where I come on board and several other
Sure,
people, several other employees here that we're probably going to have on the podcast at
absolutely.
some point, and with that, I think kind of what we envision too is Byron and I are one and the same in that we feel like this is just a really awesome place to
It
work.
is. It's fun. I mean, I've been told all my life if you find something you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life. And I'm having a blast. We're certainly busy. We go from one event to another, and there's always something going on. But it every day is different. Every day's got new challenges, new exciting things, and obviously as a sports fan, getting to meet some of the people that we've been able to meet over the last couple of years is great. But yeah, it's a fun place to work, and that's kind of my goal from the top down, is that we're going to have fun doing what we do.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking on, some of those big names that we get to interact with and induct and, really kind of get to know throughout the process, as we kind of help, this thing along and this podcast take shape, certainly we definitely see the
Mm,
opportunity to kind of, talk with some of those people, about different things, their careers, the induction process, what Missouri means to them, because as a state Hall of Fame, I think that goes so far and kind of, what we embody is,
yeah.
is a lot of people who go on and have these careers, and do big things, but stay true, to their roots and where they're
Mhm.
from or where they went to college or whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And good example of that, just this past February, we were able to induct Tyler Hansbrough from Poplar Bluff, of
Cool
course,
guy.
and he's a podcaster himself. We hope to have him on perhaps sometime in the future, maybe teach us a thing or two about podcasts. But he was just down to earth. Obviously loves Missouri. Had an excellent career, but um, induction day. Roy Williams, former coach at North Carolina, flies in to see him, and so just getting to see those, meet those type of names that people recognize. But I'll be honest with you, one of the coolest things is when you get to make the phone call and let someone know they're going to the Hall of Fame. The high school coaches that maybe people from other parts of the state maybe not have heard of, or the the female athlete that had an outstanding career years ago that we just inducted a very talented amateur golfer from the Kansas City area who has grandchildren that didn't realize that she was so great at golf. And so just those are the cool stories as well. It's really neat meeting the pro stars that everybody sees on TV, but those other inductees have great stories as well.
Yeah, and one thing that we always kind of say around here that I really like is we're in the business of making people happy, and
Yeah.
obviously these people are so deserving, and it's just really cool to kind of see them get that recognition for so many years of perseverance and excellence and what have you. And we're even trying to kind of, I think, continue on that in different areas. We're
Yeah.
trying to incorporate events with like the high school age kids and
Hmm.
things like that to try and give recognition, kind of on a smaller scale,
Sure.
but at the same time, there's so many talented young athletes that are coming through here, and I think, part of kind of that digital presence and some of these new things we're doing are just trying to kind of make newer people, newer generations interested in the Hall of
Yeah, and I,
Fame.
and I think that goes along with our mission. I mean, our mission at its core is we want to recognize the achievements of the past and inspire future generations of success. And so, let's face it, the kids today, they're on Twitter, they're on Instagram, and they're listening to podcasts. And so that's why one of the reasons that we're making this move towards the social media presence and podcasting and looking at different new things that are going to be around for a while, because we got to reach new generations, but at the same time tell the stories of these greats that have come before us.
Yeah, and kind of feeding off what you're saying there, if you're wondering about the name of the podcast,
Yeah.
that's kind of where that comes in, where the game lives on. Is it's so much about the history and preservation,
Hmm.
of sports and the excellence that we have here. But speaking on those new generations and everything, that's kind of where you brought me on board here this past January, was with social media.
Yeah.
And again, it's that period of transition that we're going through right now, and it's a very exciting time. But some of those things that we're really trying to do, with a digital presence, something that you had told me, we never really had
Yeah.
much of one. So, we're really excited about being able to, just keep relevance with our audience, keep them interested and informed on kind of what we're doing and everything, and then even taking that a step further with some of the stuff like this now with podcasts and everything. We really want to kind of break that wall with our
Yeah.
audience where they feel like they kind of know us, a
Yeah.
little bit, and they know what we do because, like I said, we love coming to work every
Yeah.
day, and we kind of want to give, somewhat of an inside look to everybody about, what it is, because it's just so awesome, when we meet those larger than life individuals, or even some of those people that maybe aren't as known, on a state or national level, and still be able to recognize them for their excellence, because, everybody's vision of success or idea of success can be different. And it is really cool whenever, we have, the small town guy who, is a name in his city,
Mhm.
or like just the other day, we got to meet Lee Smith, and it
Yeah.
was like, oh my goodness, this guy, this guy is not only in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame,
in
he's in
Cooperstown.
Cooperstown, and that's always so cool. But whenever it comes to the podcast itself, we want this thing to kind of just be light and fun, and we've got so many stories of things that just happen here in the office that we
Mhm.
think are just
Yeah.
really really exciting to talk about, and we want to share with people. And when it comes to our digital presence and stuff, getting this thing going. Now we're like, hey, let's start looking into a podcast. Let's start looking into some other
And
things.
and just to go off of that, what I hope this becomes. I mean, we have no idea. We'll see where it takes us, but I want people to be, hey, it's whatever day that we're releasing this. Hey, there's a new Where the Game Lives On out today, and they want to listen to it each week. That's our goal, is to put this out weekly, and over the course of time, as people listen to episode after episode, and they get to know us, not only me and you, Noah, but like you said, we'll have other staff members in, and to get to know the rest of the staff on outside of events, and kind of peek into behind the curtains here at the Hall of Fame, and kind of see who we are, and the fun we have. We could bring Hall of Famers on every week, and just do a 30-minute interview show every week, and maybe there'd be some people that will listen to that. That's not really. We'll have interviews, of course, and we'll do some different things, and we may be on site somewhere instead of in the studio. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, I just want it to be a fun, and we may have an episode where we don't even mention sports just because we got off on a tangent about something else. Who knows? But just we'll just see what happens. But looking forward to it, and I think it's a great way to kind of spread our mission and who we are across the state. So.
Of course, and you talk about kind of our mission and trying to become a statewide Hall of Fame that has a great presence across the state. For anybody that doesn't know, we're located in Springfield, Missouri, southwest corridor of the state. We have a great foothold here. But it wasn't
Mhm.
always the case because the Hall of Fame hasn't always been here. So, for
Correct.
those people that don't know, kind of just briefly go over maybe the history of the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
and how it came to be in Springfield.
So the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame actually was organized in 1951. At the time, the very first inductee was Carl Hubble. He was an outstanding southpaw hurler for some great New York Giants teams back in the day, but he was the first inductee in 1951. And at the time, they would just hang these plaques in the administration building at the fairgrounds in Sedalia. 1961, in that time frame, they moved the plaques over to the state capitol building in Jefferson City, and they hung in the basement there. Ultimately, they were there for a long time. In 1988, sometime in that time frame, they built a new building a couple blocks away, and so they moved all these plaques from the basement there into a conference room at the new building. And so that got interesting. If you wanted to go see the plaques on the wall, then you would have to call ahead and make sure the conference room wasn't being used for a meeting. So they were there for a while. And then in the early 90s, Norm Stewart, Mizzou fans certainly know who that is. Gary Filbert, who was instrumental in the starting the Missouri Basketball Coaches Association, and Dave Porter. The three of them wanted to basically build a new Missouri Basketball Hall of Fame. And so they approached John Q. Hammonds, who was a Springfield real estate developer, and about kind of overseeing this project, financing it, and so he agreed to do so. And so in the course of doing this, they were actually going to renovate the old Columbia College gymnasium for this Basketball Hall of Fame. And so they quickly found out that it'd be a lot cheaper to build a brand new building than to renovate the gym there at Columbia. And so in the course of doing that, they decided to make it an all sports Hall of Fame instead of just basketball. So every city in the state wanted this project. Jefferson City, Columbia, St. Louis, Kansas City, Cape Girardeau, St. Joseph, Kirksville, all over the state. Ultimately, Springfield won out, primarily because John Q. Hammonds was financing it, and this was his home territory. And so they built it. If you've seen the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, it has the barrel-shaped roof, which gives the nod to the basketball roots. Looks like an old gymnasium. So it was built here in Springfield, opened in 1994, and so we kind of refer to that point as the modern era of the Hall of Fame. All of those plaques from 1951, from Carl Hubble all the way through 1993, are still on display here at the Hall of Fame. But that's kind of the brief history of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, how it started, and how we got to where we are. So it's been here in Springfield since 1994.
And definitely, there's been a lot that has happened, a lot of growth for the
Oh
Hall
yeah,
of Fame
absolutely.
since the mid '90s in what you call the modern era,
Hmm.
and now we're going to be even moving kind of into another phase of
Yeah,
sorts as we're kind of getting some updates,
sure.
some renovations that are going to be happening here. For anybody that doesn't know, people in the Springfield area, people across the state of Missouri, the Hall of Fame, the museum itself is actually closed right now
Hmm.
because we're going into this renovation period, but that doesn't mean that the work has stopped. We
No.
definitely still have so much that's going on here. Over 60 events annually between, some induction ceremonies, some luncheons, different things.
And this will be, I mean, I'd be remiss not to mention Gerald Andrews. It opened here in '94. He came to the Hall of Fame in, I think, October of 1995. Just retired. That's who I replaced. If that's even possible, but he was here for 27, 20, almost 28 years. And over the course of that time, he kind of built the Hall of Fame into what it is today. A very event-driven organization. He was a master fundraiser. He just he just knows how to raise money, and so he created different events and obviously had great staff members over the years, but primarily through his leadership. As you mentioned, 60 events annually. There's inductions. There's just luncheons. There's just lots of different things that events that have been on the calendar for years, and that's certainly a testament to Gerald Andrews. Built it into the event-driven organization. The museum's always been here, and there's always been some really cool memorabilia on display. That's one thing that we're looking at doing differently in the future. Is kind of as we mentioned, the younger crowd, they love the screens, they love the interactive stuff, and so we're looking at possibly updating the museum. We're kind of in a holding pattern now. We're trying to see what the best option is, and we'll keep everybody posted. Of course, the museum currently is closed, but we hope to in the near future, or at least in the future, have a brand new museum to go along with our events as well.
Yeah, very exciting for sure, and we're kind of anticipating, what moves are going to be
Hmm.
made, and it's going to be a fun time. And like you'd mentioned, there's several different things that we kind of want to address, and
Yeah.
kind of stay with the times per se. I appreciate you mentioning Gerald Andrews. He's actually for his, for all the work he did in almost 30 years, he's actually now a Missouri sports legend,
Yes.
which is another level of status we give to inductees. Our legends get a bronze bust on our Legends
Okay.
Walkway, which is displayed outside of our museum. That was at the end of 2022 after he rode off into the
Yeah.
sunset. Even though he's not really retired per
No.
se, he's still staying very busy. So
His last day here at the office was February 28th, and then I think March 2nd, he actually started a new job. So,
yeah,
or at least part time, quote unquote.
yeah, and I didn't have as much experience working with him, but everything I hear,
Yeah.
that's right, in line with him. Just a grinder.
He's not a go sit in the recliner kind of guy. I mean, if I were him, I'd be playing every golf course I could find. But and he certainly has played more golf recently than he has in the past. But he's just he just always wants to serve, and so he's working with the hospital back in Bolivar, helping raise funds for their new expansion, and has recently confirmed to the State Fair Commission. So he's serving in different capacities now. So
Yeah, and we
still
definitely
raising money though.
yes, yeah, and we definitely wish him the best in all of his endeavors. We probably can't mention his name enough,
No,
as you
he's
said. He definitely helped shape kind of the modern era of what the Hall of Fame has
absolutely.
become, and so much thanks and appreciation is owed to him. But yeah, we're now in this new time of transition, and we're definitely all enjoying it so far. Trying to institute our own things, the podcast. We look forward to seeing this thing grow along with several other new ideas that we're going to be coming out with, and we'll always try to share those with you guys, whether it be on the podcast or if you want to follow us on social media. Keep that in mind. We'll have links to all of that stuff, but we're planning on right now to have weekly episodes of this. We want to have this come out weekly, give updates, share stories, whatever it may be, and anything else
Yeah,
that you think
absolutely.
comes up. So um, we appreciate you listening in. Like we said, we're just getting this thing off and running, and we look forward to this thing taking shape. Be sure to follow us across our social media channels, stay informed on everything that's going on, and stay tuned for our episodes that will be coming out. You can listen to them anywhere that you get podcasts, like iTunes and Spotify. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Where the Game Lives On.
See you, everybody.
you.